And even though I was living under a communist regime, but alhamdulillah, my father was having a good insight. And since then, I was following this event around the world. And then when I studied political science, I actually left medicine for it, to be honest. And I went for political science because it was my passion. So I studied political zones. Political zones are those zones where the political confrontation between colonialist states like Britain, US, Russia, and France. So Egypt was number one. Of course, it's the north. It's a country which comes in the Middle East and also in the North Africa, and it's a really important regional power. So it's really important for the West to maintain their interest over there. So that was what I studied. Now, when 2011, the revolution, I would call it quote-unquote revolution, because in my view that was not a revolution. So when that happened, I wrote an article, but no one was ready to buy it, because in everyone's view, they thought if Hosni Mubarak goes, everything will be solved. Everyone is a malak, they become malak. So the shaitan goes, everything becomes, ma'asumeen. But they didn't realize that this is a system. This is a system that creates this. So anyways, to come back to the main topic, when this revolution, so-called revolution happened, I told some of the brothers in this community that nothing has changed. Keep this in mind, and this is my word. Nothing has changed. So you will see. After a few months, we realized how the army dealt with the protesters. You saw the sister being beaten on the street, her clothes were taken off and stuff like that, a Muslim sister. And all that stuff. Yesterday morning, when I woke up, the first thing I do is I check the news. So I woke up and I saw what happened in Egypt, which I was expecting since July 3rd. It has happened, but I didn't know that our own army would be as brutal as this to our own people. Even though I knew, but I still thought maybe there's still a rahmah in their heart for the Muslims. But that was what happened. So I think I could collect something as aftermath and something that puts you to think that what happened, but I couldn't copy the main picture. So you see what happened over there. And I also tried to collect some videos, not directly showing off the blood and stuff because we cannot watch it. But you can go to YouTube and you can search for the Egyptian Massacre 2013 and you will see. So the first thing I was there was the first to get a glimpse of what happened. Maybe you have not watched it, but still there was a video by Al Jazeera that was shown here. So yeah, that was good. So you see the fire. This is during the night. As you can clearly see. So what was happening? Shooting happened. The first
after.
Yeah, well, the first thing was they shot the cameraman. Whoever has a camera, even journalists, they shot them in the face, and the eye, and the head, and the chest to finish the camera. Let me unmute this one. So let's listen to this version.
Streets on fire, an ugly outcome to a crackdown which has left hundreds dead and injured. Tanks and security forces were sent in to clear supporters of deposed President Mohamed Morsi from their seats of resistance. The interim Prime Minister was quick to defend the crackdown, play down any reports of heavy-handed violence.
What we see, the right of expression has turned into a form of intimidation, carrying illegal arms, hijacking roads, assaulting public and private property, and crippling the people's interest, is no longer a respect for freedom of expression. It's an assault not only on citizens, but also on the authority of the state, which should be respected.
State television played throughout the day video of Morsi supporters with guns and swords, and violence elsewhere. The Interior Minister said they were left with little choice but to move in.
It threatens to fire live ammunition and target used heavily and intensely in the direction of security forces who continue to show self-restraint. The personnel deployed succeeded in dealing and addressing the situation with the highest degree of professionalism to end the sit-in without losses.
Mohammed Ibrahim said no live rounds were used against the protesters, but witnesses to the clear-out paint a different picture.
He used to say live, we don't have guns, we don't have anything inside. We found them attacking us. They are attacking people which are innocent.
As the death toll mounts, there's a growing sense of unease for many in Egypt at the actions of the military-backed government. But if those on the streets were angry at the bloodshed, so too were key members of the leadership. The interim Vice President, Mohammed al-Baradei, resigned in protest. The former senior UN diplomat and head of one of Egypt's main opposition parties said there were peaceful options for ending the political crisis. There are fears the upheavals also fueling a sectarian crisis. A Christian church was set on fire in the town of Aish in the Sinai Peninsula as violence spread across the country. State of emergency has been declared and a month-long nighttime curfew is now in place in 14 Egyptian provinces out of 27, mainly in areas where support for ousted President Morsi has been strong. The President also instructed the armed forces to assist the police in taking whatever measures necessary to preserve security and order, protecting public and private property and the lives of citizens. They give the military-backed government draconian powers to prevent anti-government crowds from gathering. But it's a step that could exclude a large segment of Egyptian society from any future democratic process. Erica Woods, Al Jazeera.
So the second video is, as I was saying, that they were, you know what they did, the strategy was because they learned from Syria. What happened in Syria, the people were having mobile phones and they were having the software which directly relays the incident to the internet. So the government has little control over it. The first thing the Egyptian government did was, the army did was, they sniped the cameraman. Now the they are shooting them first. So what happens later, I can show it later inshallah in the picture. So, and also you cited in this video as well. So the first thing is that you can see over here that I'm actually playing from my cell phone. Look at that speaker. So even to the point that they shot BBC journalist, Sky News journalist, there was another sister for another media outlet. So they shot the Western journalist, stopped the coverage of the incident. And some of the journalists even said that when they were trying to go and cover, they were stopped by army, they were not allowed. Because in the previous video we saw how the fire was everywhere. So after that they shot like tens of thousands of people, Like, we have a report of saying that 4,000 people died and 10,000 people injured. But the way you see the firing is possible because you are firing in tens of thousands of people. The bullet goes hitting someone. So even if the media report of 300 or 400 people is true, this is a lot of numbers. And this is a big number. And when you compare with the hadith of Rasulullah, one drop of the blood of my ummah is 1,000 times higher than Kaaba itself. So we can see yesterday, millions of Kaabas were destroyed. And after that they put fire, so they burned everything. Now, the masjid was burned, the makeshift hospital was burned, which I can show you the picture later. But one more video that I have...
Even the injured people, they killed the injured people.
Yeah, they were in the hospital, they burned the hospital, so they were burned. We have this video of who is actually behind the whole thing. Now we can see. This is a Senate meeting. Question and answer. This is in response to those brothers who emailed me.
Welcome back. Let's talk about the situation in Egypt. There's been disagreement.
I apologize for that.
You can maybe change the setting lower on that little thing on the YouTube, and you'll get lower quality, but no, that one, yeah. Click on that.
Washington about the wisdom of continuing to provide
Do it like-
assistance to the Egyptian
That is the lowest.
military in light of recent events there. When I look at Egypt, I don't see very many Jeffersonian Democrats, but I believe the Egyptian military has acted with great professionalism and restraint throughout the 3 years of difficult transition since the 2011 ouster of Hosni Mubarak. I believe one of the primary reasons that there's not been far more bloodshed and suffering during this time of transition is the support the United States has provided to Egypt through foreign military sales and military-to-military cooperation. In light of recent events, I will call for the end of these programs. Let me tell you how I feel about this and our commitments under the Camp David Accords, and then let you respond. First, we must maintain the strength of this relationship to enable us to assist and influence Egypt's military leaders. Second, the United States would be short-sighted to overlook the return on investment we get from the Egyptian military. For example, Suez Canal transits for our carrier battle groups, intelligence cooperation, counterterrorism cooperation. These are examples of the benefits we derive from this relationship. Third, the Egyptian military has played a stabilizing role during Egypt's transition. And fourth, our commitments under the Camp David Accords have yielded sustainable peace between Israel and Egypt. We must acknowledge Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's statement this weekend on Face the Nation that the Camp David Accords have been, quote, the cornerstone of peace between us and our neighbors, and it's also been the cornerstone of stability in the Middle East, unquote. General Dempsey, do you agree with me regarding the importance of military-to-military relationships as enablers of U.S. foreign policy? I do, Senator. And you agree with me that we should continue to maintain and foster the strength of U.S.-Egyptian military relationship?
I do. If our government decides that they have to take some action based on existing legal frameworks and restrictions, I would recommend that we find a way to restore those as quickly as possible, even if it meant conditioning in some way. But I very strongly believe we have to maintain our contact with the Egyptian armed forces.
And do you have any reason to believe that some have fear, and some fear now, that weapons and equipment that we provide to the Egyptians, or that we have provided in the past, have been used or will be used or would be used in ways that might eventually endanger the United States military or civilian personnel or United States interests?
There's no indication at this point, Senator, that would be a concern.
And you're working with the elected government of Mohamed Morsi moving toward a dictatorship.
to express my conversations with my counterpart. I can tell you they very strongly believe that.
Okay, well, let me just ask you then, before I move on to another topic. I made some pretty emphatic statements. Would you like to elaborate? I'll give you an opportunity to elaborate on what you said about the relationship that we've had and the assistance and the sales that we've had with the Egyptian military.
Thank you. My own personal experience with it goes back to when I commanded CENTCOM in 2008. And I can tell you that they're a very strong partner of the United States, a very key nation in the region. As you put it yourself, we enjoy preferential passage in the Suez, dynamic overflight. They're committed to the Camp David Accords. The Israeli military considers the Egyptian military a strong partner. And so in my personal experience, which goes back now about 5 years, they are worth the investment.
Anyways, why did I show you this video? I will explain this after once inshallah and this presentation is over. So as you can see, this was after the shooting of the cameraman and after they arrived. So when they tried to stop the resistance, they couldn't. So the easiest way is to fire. Everyone should fire. Nobody can stand in front of it. They can stand in front of a tank with bullets, but they cannot stand in front of a fire. So this is a fire. You can see this brother, they say they were having bullets, and you can clearly see this brother is walking, the father of 2 children, just like me. And here is the same car, and here is the same guy, and he has this one poster in his hand, and he shot this.
He got shot because he was holding the picture of Dr. Morsi.
Yeah. That was his time. I lost the shahada. And we go for the next picture, and over here you can see the aftermath of like this is the start, and they are pushing it in. And what they made was they made a makeshift hospital. Now you can see the armed forces, the way they are armed is like they are attacking the other country who has attacked Egypt on Saturday, last Saturday, this week. They fired a missile, killing 5 people inside Egypt. And like this army is as ready as like they are going to defend those 5 people who were killed. But these people are coming to kill their own people. And now this is a makeshift hospital. Tens of thousands of people are injured, and they are brought into the hospital, and they are in the hospital. And now what you do is they put fire into a hospital, burning them alive. I couldn't put the pictures of the burnt people. There are hundreds, and you can Google it yourself if you can watch them. So this was the whole presentation that I had. It was just 5 pages, but the whole thing is, the reason I showed the video, and now I will explain what was the mistake of the Egyptian people in terms of after 25th of January of 2011. The Egyptian army was established by the junior officers after they made a coup against King Farouk in 1952. They established this strong army backed by US. Even it was written by some memoirs of some generals who retired and who have now died. They said how the U.S. backed them. And then they were given a large amount of money. We are talking about $1.5 billion annual support, which is a kind of bribe to the generals. Exactly like Turkey, Pakistan, and other countries. Through this army, they control the whole nation. The army controls the industries, the army controls agriculture, the army controls even consumer products, the production of consumer products. So the army is everything. The governors are armies, the major positions are in the hands of the army, the budget is written by the army, approved by the army. So the main guys in the country is the army. In post-1967, when they were defeated in the war against Israel, because they didn't want to fight, the army they wanted to just get the name, the Arab world, oh, this guy's an Arab, he is a hero in the Muslim world. He went there and he didn't attack, but he was attacked and he was destroyed because he had a guarantee from US that you will not be attacked, you should not attack. So they were attacked and the army got destroyed. That time they realized that we have to give up this day-to-day business to the civilian government, but we have to have the industry and the budget and those other stuff in our hands. So up to 2011, that's when the day-to-day business was given to the civilian government, but the rest was done by the army. And as a result, the agricultural aspects came, Egypt is an agricultural country, a strong agricultural country. It has fed the Africa and Middle East. Like, look at it when Umar, there's a famine, he sends a letter to Umar ibn As that you are enjoying good food, we are dying out of hunger, send us some food. So they send the amount of food which is enough for the whole year, because they had a lot of food. But because post 1952, and at the same time, as Henry Kissinger says, if you control the resources, you will control the nation, but if you control the food, you are controlling the people. So what they did was they told the army, because they're bribing the army, that now the army has to listen, and agricultural industry is in the hands of the army, so army has to cultivate cotton for American industry. And in return, we will give you the wheat and the cheapest price. So they are providing wheat. Why am I saying this? Because these cards were played against mercy. And when he was in the government, these were played against mercy. So now the army is everything. Even though Hosni Mubarak is there, some civilian guys are there, but the main thing is in the hands of the army. There is a resistance from the people because the poverty is coming. The poverty officially is around 50%, but unofficially how much you don't know. And what the definition of poverty is different than Canada. In Canada, if you are having a gallon of milk per week, it's a poverty. But over there, people do not have milk for the whole month, and that's not poverty. So, and according to those definitions, the poverty was like around 50%. So, it's because it was totally in the hand of the U.S. to control, and the army is abusing this power. Of course, the people are standing against it, as was Ikhwan al-Muslimin. So Ikhwan al-Muslimin was established in 1928, and they were a major factor, the major political party over there. Had they not been suppressed, they were going to be the major power, and like in terms of political party in that region. What happened since they were suppressed, they were jailed, they were killed, they were whatever they could, they had to stop it because that's the only opposition. So anyone wanting Islam joins them because that's the major power, political power, and they are asking for what the people think is, because people think Islam is a solution. As the 2008 survey, different organizations did a survey, and they found Egypt one of those countries in which 80% of the people want Islam. So what happened that, of course, Ikhwan al-Muslimin is one of the powers. They were pushing Ikhwan al-Muslimin to come take part in the process. So Ikhwan al-Muslimin agreed. In 2006 they went in, but they were kicked out again. Why? Because they don't want them. They forced them. They want to make an excuse, but they want them. Which in 2011 and 2012 they again went to the parliament and stuff, which we see what happened. The major thing which happened after Morsi came to power, we have to connect it to two other countries. Iran in 1960s, as you have studied, in 1960s Muhammad Mustaan was democratically elected, and he was one of the, he was the prime minister and he was ruling the government, and he was in the country. So the moment he came to power, he nationalized oil resources because the people were in poverty. The Britain was losing the oil and gas, and the people there was nothing for the country. So he announced that it's nationalized. Okay, he nationalized it. And 1 year, US and UK joined a scheme. What was the scheme? By the whole media. The whole media slandered Muhammad Mustaan as the worst ever ruler of the country. So after 1 year, they had a coup. The king came back and had a coup and arrested this guy, exactly the same like Muhammad Morsi, accused for some crimes which he has never committed. And he died mysteriously in the jail. So that was one thing. In Chile, there was an elected president who was by popularly he was elected. He came as a president. The first thing he did was he tried to, he was the most popular guy. He tried to bring those equalities among the people. He actually tried to elevate the, the status of the people and the poverty stuff. The first thing they did was they stopped any kind of aid to the country. The World Bank stopped disbanded. The media was bought and the campaign run against them. And the military, after 1 year, had a coup by direct orders from US. And this guy was killed in his palace. And thousands of people were killed, raped, and jailed for tens of years in Chile. So if you compare, like there were 46 coups in these last 50 years, but I'm just bringing a glimpse of these two countries which are having the most similarity with Egypt. What happened in Egypt since Morsi came to power? Did you hear any day that there was no protest? Morsi had to face protests every day. And what I was doubting came out to be true when, you know Mustahid? Mustahid is a Twitter user. He is from the Prince family. He is a prince in Saudi. He does not expose his real name. But he is against what's happening in Saudi. So actually Saudi, ironically, again funded something which US wants. They paid $1 billion to those who are protesting. Because what's the main thing? To prove that Islamists has a political power is to prove Islamists wrong and that they cannot run the country. Even though majority of the stuff Morsi does, I personally do not agree with it. I personally do not agree with it. But let's take it as a benefit of the doubt. He did it for the people. That was the first thing. The funding of the protesters was continuing since the day Morsi was thrown out. And the next day, Saudi, Kuwait, and Emirates paid $8 billion, no, $12 billion, $5 billion of which is paid by Saudi, $4 billion by Kuwait, and $3 billion by Emirates, to the Egyptian army to elevate the poverty. Why didn't he pay it before? And then it was found that the wheat which the US was providing to the Egyptians had stopped reaching Egypt. Like literally 2 months of ration of wheat was left for the Egyptian people. Do you think it all happens by coincidence? Or this video plays a role? And there is a huge material, I couldn't print them all for all of you, but I will put it on my Facebook so anyone wants to read it, explaining from day one how John Kerry and others and Hillary Clinton worked on this because they could never trust Morsi. And they worked on this, how to bring this coup into action. And because there are two reasons. First of all, 80% of the people want what? Islam. How many percent of the people want Israel to be as a winner on Sinai, control the country? It's more than that. Right? So now, you are having a 1 million army personnel, which is 5 million is active and half million is active and half million is reserve. You are having it coming from a population which 80% of which wants Islam. The second thing is they want the Air Force is not as good to fight Israel, but the people can fight. Will Israel want anyone with a thought of against Israel to be in power? Even in thinking, he thinks against Israel. So that was it. Even though Morsi tried to do whatever to convince them, that's why I say I disagree with him. But that didn't work. They didn't trust him. The second thing was, they took part in a system which was designed to kick out Ikhwan from power. To kill them in thousands, but do not let them come in. And yesterday's incident is one of them. So that was it. The major opportunity that Egyptians had was 21st January of 2011. they should have not gone home. They should have stayed, and they should have said, we don't want these guys. Imagine last week, what happened? Israel attacked Egypt with one missile or 10 missiles or 1,000 missiles. It's attack, right? The new governors were appointed, all the army officers back like Egyptian area. The ministers are from his term, everything from the Mubarak term. Who is left behind? Mubarak only to come back as a president. Everything else is back to the same thing. And then, at this time, this comes over here. What we learn from this experience is that we cannot convince liberals. They will never accept us. They will do whatever they want to stop us from this. And you can see the Egyptian influence. But I really feel bad for my brothers, and not because what they are doing. I feel bad what's happening to them. But I'm really proud of my sisters and brothers in Egypt. I can proudly call them my sisters and brothers. Because they stood with Allah Akbar and in front of the bullets and chance and fire.
For Allah.
Yeah. So to stand for what? For just Allah Akbar. And those people who, at the first I said some people have told me to not do this and I know nothing about Egypt and stuff. Those people who are supporting this government and this regime and what happened there, just should think, what if his or her daughter was there and killed? His brother, his mother, his uncle was there. What was their reaction? They are our brothers, and they stand for Allah Akbar. And this is immoral of us to sit quiet for them and whatever is happening. This is all I had, and this is all I could bring over. So may Allah accept it, and may Allah accept the shahada of our brothers, brothers and sisters over there. And if you have any questions, if I was able to answer, I will gladly answer it, inshallah.
The Sunday program.
Sorry?
The Sunday program.
Yeah, we have the protest on Sunday. Our sister has organized the protest on Sunday afternoon, inshallah, and all of you are requested to come over there.
After Dhuhr prayer.
After Dhuhr prayer, yeah, inshallah.
Where it will be?
It will start from here and we will...
Yeah, we'll go like
Yeah, we'll go on Faith Fusion. Yeah.
1 hour and a half, 2 hours.
Inshallah. So, that's what we can do in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whoever stands for the kalimat al-haq, for the truth, he is killed for it. He is Sayyid al-Shuhada. You know who was Sayyid al-Shuhada in the history of Islam? Hamza anhu and Hussein anhu. So the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, whoever stands for it, we stand with them to reject what's happening, to stand with our brothers and sisters, and to be on their side, to show them that we are with them. And we represent our different communities, Pakistani, Afghani, Bangladeshi, and other countries.
everyone.
Yeah, so we are standing over there representing our communities, that we are with you. So this is a request from all of you, if you can participate, inshallah. If there is no other question, we will end over here, and I will ask the next dua for the Shuhada over there.
With Israel and the Israeli army and the Israel, they have good relations and good things. But very important for many people, they think that this is not the case. I wonder if somebody could in Arabic to translate it, write it in 6 minutes and translate and translate it to the Facebook on this thing. We discuss with the people that are representing democracy.
Yeah. No, this brother was not talk about them. The brother talked about those hundreds of millions of other Arabs and others who are against it. How many are supporting this army? Except those who are paid or are from those families of businessmen and stuff, and those who are naive and know nothing about the reality of what's happening.
Exactly, yeah. International support. So far, just 5 nations are supporting that case. Only 5 nations all over the world out of 190, which is the shame of these people.
This factor like our people, like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, these guys, because they're going to love the Egypt today. I mean, kingdom.
Yeah, because why? No, one of my articles which will be published maybe in the next 2 weeks. When I saw them having a role in Egypt and taking the leadership of misguiding the Syrian opposition, the Saudi, I thought I could write about it because I'm writing for the revolutionobserver.com. Over there, I wrote that how come every time when there is American big plan, Saudi is there paying for it, like for Afghanistan. For Afghanistan, they give a blank check to the president of Afghanistan, Saddam Mohammed Dawood. They give him a blank check, they say, because he came to Hajj and they give him a blank check, that pay each penny of the loan to the Russians, we will pay for everything you have, like you want to plan, because we have the 25 years of development plan for the country. So they fooled them actually. They give the blank check, which never came to Afghanistan, but it brought the Russian army to Afghanistan. Then they funded and established these bases, which Americans later translated it into what? Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
Bases, Al-Qaeda. Till today, no one in the world is there to prove it to me that Al-Qaeda even exists. So these bases were established, they funded Taliban, they funded everything, the civil war. Why? Because today Afghanistan is invaded. The same goes for Iraq. And the first Gulf War, how much was the cost of the war? Around $60 billion. How much was paid by Saudi? $37 billion was paid by Saudi. $37 billion. $16 billion were paid by Germany and Japan. Only $7 billion was paid by the US. So that you have the cake and you eat it. Then it comes the second war. All of the costs were paid by Saudi. Then comes the Syrian issue. They are trying to arm different groups to put them in a war against each other. And now comes Egypt. They paid the protesters to go to the streets. And this is what I don't say. This is one of the royal family itself says.
And again, like the thing is, reality says it too.
Yeah.
Because where these people that went out on January 25th,
Yeah.
and these are very popular names,
Yeah.
where are they now?
Yeah.
Or did they get
All of
money
them
and
get
everything,
paid.
or?
Yeah. So all of these you can see why is it because the kingdom family can't do anything of their own. This is the West directing them. The second thing is about what's happening like other nations. Like European Union's Ashton, yeah.
Catherine Ashton.
Yeah, Captain Ashton went and met Morsi. You think they went for good? They went to tell to Morsi, you step down and come as an opposition to the parliament only. You imagine, you are elected democratically in a system that you are forcing people. But what is the first time that they did it? Look at Algerian incident. In Algeria too, they were forcing Islamists to come through the electoral process. Once they came to power, they took power, they had a coup against them. France led the coup, France and England led the coup, and they killed tens of thousands of people who were supporting it. So, someone told me, let's have it a Venezuelan style of counter-coup. You know what happened in Venezuela? In Venezuela, they had a coup against this Hugo Chavez. They brought a coup against him, and he was literally taken out for 48 hours. But people stood up, and then he was brought back. However, the difference between Egypt And Venezuela is, or Algeria, or any Islamic country, a Muslim country I should call it. not
Same thing happened in Turkey, but
Yeah.
Turkey was very smart.
Yeah.
So Turkey was very smart, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, but the point is, in the Turkey there's a lot of issues that I don't want to go there. And the issue of the Turkey is because Americans took over from the English, so that's a different story. But anyway, when we come to Venezuela, because Hugo Chavez came from the army, he had the army in his confidence. So if one or two guys are having a coup, the whole army will not accept it. But in Egypt, we neglected the army. We realized the army is the main power, and you are neglecting it. You think if the leadership changes, they will listen. No, they will not become angels. Because they are bribed every year for $1.5 billion, other than the corruption of the country that they are doing. So now, this counter coup of Venezuela is not possible. However, this is the time for our brothers in Egypt to go and contact the major players of the army. Why? Because Rasulullah, he contacted the tribal leaders. He went to those who were Ahlul Nusra who can support the da'wah of Rasulullah. So our brothers, this is the time for them to realize this and then go. Because at the same time there, I don't say the whole army will believe in this killing.
No.
Not the whole army. Like, look at Abdul Fattah Sisi himself says there is no division in the army. If there was no division, he would have never mentioned
Why are
it.
you talking about that?
Yeah, why do you mention it? But there, so this is the opportunity for our brothers to contact them, to go to those and find them. You are already dying. What if you are caught? Doesn't matter. You are already dying on the street, so go to them. They are also hurt, they are injured, they are emotionally injured. Instead of fighting the enemies, they are fighting their own people, unarmed people, and they are killing them. Contact them. And out of, like, look at the Pakistan army. One brigadier is trying to change the whole army because the army is killing its own people. In Waziristan and Swat and Khyber. So one tried, he tried it at least. Why? Because people contacted them. These 8 generals, they took risk and they contacted them. Some were arrested, but some succeeded in convincing. And that's not the end of the world. There would be someone else to come up. So the same goes to Egypt. The Egyptian army should be contacted to stand on the side of the people. I hope I've answered this. Yeah. Any other questions?
Is there any form of organization that's steering the event on Sunday?
Oh, well, this is our sister. She's taking the lead, and then we, as her brothers, are supporting it. And she's taking the lead. She contacted the media and everything, but because no one was taking initiative, so may Allah reward her. She took the initiative and she started it, and I did whatever I can.
Is there any correspondence with other towns and other cities? Is there a national correspondence going on?
That's what that was a suggestion last night over the Facebook, that we should correspond across the nation. We should have these programs that tonight I have it across the nation, and every masjid and every community. So because of course we are Muslims, even if we were like, if these guys were, these sisters and brothers were not Muslims, we would have been hurt, because they are, after all, they are human. And you cannot kill them, you cannot burn them alive. When they need a medicine, you burn them alive. But the Ummah feels the pain, except those few guys, which you cannot help them. They will never listen to you. But the problem is that this needs to be done by us. So if anyone can help us in this, that we can organize it. I've already contacted some of my friends in Toronto. They are going to have it in several masajid over there. And they were just on the phone with me. They were asking me what am I planning to say, what is going to be presented. So the same, they are going to have it over there. Yes, I was not as good because I'm not a good speaker. Maybe they were a better speaker. If we contact better speakers, shuyukh who can stand in the masajid and can have a khutbah about it, that would be really good. So anyone can do it. If you need material, I can provide material. I have that tech document. I can post it on my Facebook. Anyone wants it, I can share it with them. Discussing from day one, when Morsi came to power, from day one how the Americans actually, tried to do the things that he should fall down. especially when they formally decided that he should be taken out. And in one meeting, the foreign minister of U.S. himself said that I cannot trust this guy. But can you guarantee that people will come out to the street? He asked the army. So there's stuff. So those material can be shared. It's quoted. It's written. You can use it. So anyone who wants to help us in this, remember this is wajib. We are protecting our brothers and sisters, not in hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands, in millions. 90 million people will be hijacked again by a regime, a bloody regime, who knows nothing other than the word of bullets. They speak from the barrel of a gun. So we have to do it.
There's one thing I just want to maybe remind everyone about. I know last time those guys that you're talking about, they got into the way of having a shift in there, mentioned the protest during holiday prayer. So if they do that again this time or whatever, if everyone here could maybe tell 5 people they know, just to make sure that we actually spread the word about this protest and so on.
Yeah, that's also a good thing that Sister mentioned. I have around hundreds of people in my cell phone, the numbers, and I'm texting everyone. It takes around maybe half an hour or so. But if you do that as well, don't be shy of it, because we are doing it for Allah, for our brothers to recognize it. This is also good. And also contact your friends across the country. So if they need help, I can go on a conference call with them. I can explain to them. I'm sure they may not need it, but if they even do, let's do it, because this is the time. This is what we can do over here.
I'm going to ask this one thing. I think it's pretty clear from this that the word democracy should not be used by us anymore. So there's no such thing as democracy.
That's a really good point. I believe the incident in the Muslim world has indicated for several times that this is not for us. They are just fooling us. Let me, and it's a good point. Let me just go to the email. One of the brothers had just emailed me this, saying, the general says, let's quote, there is no easy answer about how to cope with the potentially negative, intolerant, anti-Western tendencies of radical Islam, but there are 2 tasks to be met. The first is to change the more uncompromising policy and attitudes of Islamic movements where possible. Islamist movements are evolving and represent a considerable variety of ideas, tactics, leadership, and goals. It is important for Western and Muslim governments to differentiate amongst them and deal with them. This is a CIA guy. The second task is to marginalize the more extremist elements in ways that do not increase the use of violence on both sides, a trend that often serves only to strengthen, not weaken the extremists. To strengthen, not weaken. So, and over here in one place he says, the one way which is possible is to push them towards democracy. Why? Because in democracy, it's a long article. In democracy, what they can do is, they bring us in, they stop all the doors on us, like the way they did it to Mercy. And then once they did that, then they say, look, they cannot govern, they are not able to lead it. But first of all, wait a minute. Did you allow me to do anything? You didn't allow me to do anything.
Well, the social media hijacked.
Yeah.
They were hijacked by, I forget his name, he's a Christian multi-billionaire, he owns a whole bunch of media outlets.
Yes.
And he was just propagating,
Throughout the year.
anti-Muslim sentiment throughout the whole year.
So this system is not for us. If you
The most important and simple example of Western democracy is United Nations in their film. Over 200 countries, they have voting, but when it comes to a matter of their interest, only one can vote. So this is democracy? This is the best example.
Yeah. The other thing is, look at the U.S. itself. The people protested, 99%. It's a big claim. What they did they listen to them? Took them out. Like in Iraq war, the whole of Americans were against it. The whole of Americans. Did any TV show it? They call them the marginalized people. So democracy is no such thing over there. During the election, they create a lot of drama for us. They, like each time in Afghanistan or Pakistan and any other country I look, during the election, they create so many big news for us. But when the real time comes, when the company, any party comes to power, it's the same. Because they do not allow us to do what people want from us.
Well, it goes back to the 1973 oil embargo, which basically guaranteed the U.S. dollar standard in the world. So what they're doing now is they're trying to control all the resources to prop up their monetary.
There's one thing you just reminded me. What do they want in Egypt? There are two things possible. One is either bring back the full army power or make it like Syria or Afghanistan or Somalia.
They wouldn't want it that way.
Yeah.
The Suez is too important.
Yeah.
So they want the army.
So and remember 2 months ago, this was discussed in the Israeli parliament that those Ahram and Misr, the pyramids are ours, our forefathers made it. It's ours. So right after that you are seeing all this. So remember, a strong army in Egypt is not needed anymore because Americans have already invested on the oil sector of the Western Africa. And they knew anyways that this revolution is coming because 2008, 4 surveys showed 80% of the Muslims wanted a change. So the major thing is that this, they know, they studied it, they know, and that's why now they want to weaken the army. They were strengthening the Pakistani army, but now they are weakening it. They are weakening the Egyptian army. And this will go on with other countries. Like, look at Bangladesh. What's happening in Bangladesh? Bangladesh has nothing to do with the Middle East, but they are weakening Bangladeshi army. They killed those sincere army officers in a mutiny. So this is a process.
It goes back to Hadith of the Prophet when he said that Israel will control from the Nile to the Furat. And any army that stands in the way from Nile to the Furat has to be dismantled. So you got Syria out of the way, you got Lebanon is in chaos. Saudi Arabia is already owned by the U.S.
Because in Syria, they realized that people will not give up on anything that's other than a real revolution.
Exactly.
And the U.S. wanted to keep Bashar, if not Bashar, at least the government. But the people were not, the whole system should, they were not like Egyptians. They said the whole system should go. They were not like money. So the whole system should go. But the Americans and Israel didn't want it. So the second way is let it be, so they are destroyed fully. If they are destroyed fully, they can't do anything. It's under control anyway.
Well, they wanna put a gas line through Benya. If you read a report.
Well, we should not, there are a couple discuss, like we believe in it, but the way we are gonna do the program, it should not be disclosed this way, because I believe it. If you talk like democracy, we don't believe in democracy. Yeah, I don't believe in democracy, that's right. But if you talk and after the masjid, they won't come with you. So this is a discussion, we should not do it here, please. That's my suggestion.
Well,
Comment section discussion should we do?
There's one thing, yeah, you are right, 100% you are right. The people will not...
We will serve our purpose, that's all.
You are 100% right, but there is one thing. One is the discussion, when the question comes, and every person in the classic Islam, not Islam of today, the classic Islam, if the person was asked, he was saying the truth. Doesn't matter if it's
Yeah.
Now, my point is, I'm answering this. The second thing is, we have to know this. We should not come. What we are going for tomorrow is, we are not going to bash democracy on the media,
No.
but of course, we are not going to call for it anymore. We say, reinstatement of what you brought it. You told us to bring it, and we brought it. Now you have to reinstate.
Exactly.
One. Second thing, you call for civil rights. Now, these guys are killing, and you are supporting them. You are funding them, you are supporting them. Anyway, Jazakallah khair. It's almost Isha time. May Allah reward all of you, and please communicate with your friends and family to join this, wherever they are. Because that's the only thing we do. at least we can stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be this. جزاكم الله خير.